David's big brother, and he's not going to let anybody mess with him. That's his guy, and now he'll mess with him, and if he does something wrong, he's going to let him know. But, that's his. He takes him under his wing, and I think they've elevated each other, and he's made Gibbs better, and I think Gibbs has helped him too. And when you have that, and you have that competition, you have that love for one another, just the whole thing, to me, they're the perfect combination. It didn't come any better, in my opinion. You got everything you need out of those two players.
That is Lions head coach Dan Campbell talking about what many people believe the best running back duo in the NFL, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And Braylon, one of the things that he said struck me about that, these guys truly root for each other. They truly love each other. They are like brothers out there. How many times have you seen in this league players who play the same position see each other more as competitors than more as brothers?
More times than not. More times than not. You see guys, at the end of the day, it's about that paper. It's about their paper. You can be part of a team, but guys want their paper, especially around the time that I played. So, I'm not going to say that was everybody, but you definitely saw a lot of that, like, I need my touches. I need to get my touches. Yo, coach, make sure you get me in on this. But that's not what you have here. You got a team that understands winning is the only thing that matters. And you got guys that get stats. Jahmyr Gibbs is, among the league leaders in the NFL. David Montgomery, touchdown, I think he's second in the league in touchdowns. You look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's second next to Jamar Chase. So they're getting theirs, but they don't care about that. The goal is winning. When they got here, Dan Campbell instilled in them that it's about winning. I sent you guys a clip of when Dan Campbell was coaching in Miami.
Tight ends coach.
Right.
This is when I watched it.
That's when I think he took over as interim coach. And there was a player that dropped the pass.
That's just when he was the tight ends coach.
Oh,
He was just the tight ends coach at that time.
Great call. Way to get me on track.
Yeah.
He's telling the guy who dropped the pass, I don't care about you dropping the pass. You block for your teammate. It's about the other guy. If you can't block for your teammates, then you can't be on the team, essentially what he's saying. So he's always been a team guy, and this is what he came in 2021. He's instilled the value of team. Like I told everybody, Lloyd Carr used to tell us, when you win, everybody gets a piece. When you win the Big Ten championship or the national championship, look at everybody that got awards last year for Michigan. Everybody got awards the year before that. When you win, everybody wins, and that's what's happening right now. The Lions are 9-1 in the NFL, and just look at where their guys are. Jared Goff in MVP category, and Kirby Joseph leading the league. He's going to be first team All-Pro. Hell, his teammate might be second team All-Pro. Everybody's winning, but they're making the goal winning the games.
They both might be first
you're
team
right.
All-Pro.
You're
That's
right.
how good Branch and Kirby are. But that compliment that he gave David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, you can't get a better compliment. It's impossible. That's a mic drop. And that just shows you how good this team is and how much of a family that this team is. I told you there's like two teams in this league that are all together. It's the Lions and it's the Chargers. Those are two sure bets that they are all together on the same page. I'm sure the Chiefs as well. You can't win all those championships and have Andy Reid as your coach without being all together. But it's phenomenal. And I loved Dan Campbell when he was the Dolphins tight end coach. And then he became the interim coach. And I followed him back then. I just fell in love with him. I don't know what it was about him. I just fell in love with the guy. And I'm like, this guy's going to be a head coach. And he didn't get the Dolphin job. I think Joe Philbin got it that year.
He did.
And Joe Philbin, he just didn't do a good job. They should have given Dan Campbell a job. He still might be in Miami had they given him that job then. But thank you, Miami. Thank you, Stephen Ross, for not making that decision because he's our guy now.
I played with a running back, Sean Green. Sean Green went to Iowa University. Yeah. He was a really good running back.
SHON.
Look at you. 100%. Sean was a great running back at Iowa. Sean was a really good running back for us with the New York Jets. The year I got there, Thomas Jones was the starter, and we led the league in rushing that year. Thomas was the starter, Sean Green the backup. They both had over 700 yards. The next year, we bring in LaDainian Tomlinson. Sean Green's yet again the backup, still having a phenomenal season. I remember talking to him in practice one time. I was like, dang, like you can go, like you can start for a lot of squads. Like what's the move? He said, I like it. He said, LT's one of the greatest. He said, last year, Thomas Jones, they taught me a lot. He said, B, we winning. Right. He said, I come from Iowa. He said, like, we just win games. We play as a team. And this is me thinking, this guy could start in a lot of places. He should be somewhere starting. And he told me, no, it's not about starting. It's about winning. So I want to correct my statement. There's a lot of individuals that actually get it at that level.
But what is the common denominator between that situation and the current running back situation here in Detroit? It's a strong head coach.
Yeah.
Rex Ryan was a strong head coach. Rex Ryan communicated exactly. He told you to your face exactly what he thought about you. You did not correct me if I'm wrong. You did not have to guess what Rex Ryan thought about you.
You did. You did. You did.
Right? He was going to tell you. And I think that's the same with Dan Campbell. These players that play the same positions are able to love each other and root for each other because their head coach, the coaching staff, upper management, they all treat the players like adults. Everybody knows exactly what their role is. Not only knows what their role is, they know why their role is their role. And if you just look to the New York Football Giants in the situation that they have at quarterback, I heard Drew Lock being interviewed at his locker yesterday.
We have that sound.
Do you have the Drew Lock? Find the Drew Lock for me. Let me just essentially. Drew Lock is like, I don't know, man. They told me I was number 2. I don't know. Like, this poor kid literally doesn't even know how to answer a question because he's trying to be PC.
Yeah.
He's trying not to ruffle any feathers. He's trying to be professional. He's trying to protect his dumbass head coach.
And he likes the kid.
And he likes
Tommy
the Italian guy.
Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets.
He loves him.
I don't want to jump off and talk about the Giants at this point. I want to stick with the Lions.
Daniel Jones, by the way, is 4th string behind Tim Boyd.
Right, but it's just an example of when you have coaches, a head coach in particular, that treats the player like an adult and just says exactly what it is. You don't have that situation. You don't have that situation in New York. You have this situation where Montgomery and Gibbs are like brothers.
A lot of times, what hurts or what gets to, how do I say this, conversation, locker room material or viral clips is when you don't have that pipeline where the coach can just tell a player this is what it is, because now you leave the player to the podium to his own conversation. Now he has to make what he sees the situation as, or now he's trying to tap dance on the situation. You just make it that much harder. Like, give the player ammo at the podium. Like, tell the player what it is, so when you're at the podium you don't have these sound bites. Now it makes you look stupid as an organization, and it lets everyone know what your head coach is all about.
No doubt. I want you to hear from Jared Goff as well. This 8-game winning streak and hopefully 9-game winning streak and hopefully 10-game winning streak and hopefully the streak continues. You know what? Back the 1934 Lions started out 10-0. It was their first year in Detroit. It was their 5th year in existence, their first year in Detroit. They were the Portsmouth Spartans. Yeah. But in 1934, it was their first year in Detroit. They won their first 10 games. They were 10-0 and then lost their last 3. So they finished the season 10-3. But that's what the Lions are kind of chasing now, is that 10-game winning streak a little bit. Here's what Jared Goff had to say about winning 8 in a row.
I know we scored 52, but it's freaking hard in this league, and we've been playing well. We've been doing a lot of good things on offense, but by no means would I ever characterize anything we're doing as easy or without effort. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of time, and the games are obviously very hard always and tough to win. And just rewind a week ago at Houston, how hard that win was. So it's never easy.
We appreciate Eric Woodyard for that clip. One thing I'm starting to notice about Jared Goff this week, this is maybe the 3rd or 4th conversation. I think I've heard 2 in the locker room, 1 on the radio, in which he was talking about this isn't easy. Like, he's made it a point every time that he's been asked this question to say, this isn't easy. It isn't easy to go out there and score 7 times in a row. It isn't easy to put up 52 points or all these numbers on stats. He's starting to get perturbed by the question. It seems like it's starting to frustrate him a lot. This is why he's letting people know it's easy, in my opinion. He's starting to pay attention to what people are saying around the league. The civilian comment. It's easy because he has Jahmyr Gibbs. It's easy because he has Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. He's not getting the credit that he deserves. And look, he's a very chill, casual customer. But you can tell it's starting to piss him that they are giving Ben Johnson all the credit for being a genius. They're giving everyone else the credit and then calling him a civilian. I don't think it's making him mad at his teammates, nothing like that. But he's starting to get pissed at these conversations.
Is that, and I'm going to make a comparison. I'm not going to, please don't mistake Jared Goff and Michael Jordan in the same sentence. but could that Braylon potentially be like Michael Jordan? He needed something to get him going. It was so easy for him. He would take something and make these stories up in his head to use as motivation because, outside of the civilian comment, it is all love for the Detroit Lions. So you almost create these stories in your mind to keep you on edge a little bit. Don't believe what everybody's saying about you that's so positive. Use something as a little bit of fuel that you could turn into and use as motivation.
I understand that, and I get that. And there is a lot of that. Sometimes you have to find a way to continue to motivate yourself on the season, especially when you're putting up numbers and sequences like this. But I don't think that's the case. Jared Goff is always laid back. He's always calm. Every once in a while, he'll bring out receipts at the end of the year. But I don't think it's that. All this stuff is coinciding the same year. It's literally 3-4 people have had some conversations about this being too easy, and then also the civilian comment on top of that. I really think it's him pissed off and thinking this is that easy when it's not. I mean, we've watched Jared Goff. We're down into every single game that Jared Goff has played. It hasn't been that easy. He struggled at times this game. The offensive line has struggled at times, so it hasn't all looked perfect. But when he's operating like this, he wants some of that credit. It's like, shoot, you're witnessing things that haven't happened before, or they haven't happened in 60 years. You got to give me a little bit of credit. Stop calling me a civilian.
To be honest, he's never gotten the credit. Not even as an LA Ram. They got to the Super Bowl.
It was Todd Gurley.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Was the problem.
It was the Rams defense. It was Sean McVay. He's never ever gotten the credit in his career. So I can understand him feeling that way, bro. I think you made a great point there.
Listen, I want to lead into the next piece of sound we have. It's from Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you said it, Bray. He's getting tired of getting these questions because they make it look so easy. These guys know what they have in this team. Here's the Saint.
Yeah, I mean, we know we're special. We've been special since the start of last year. We got guys we feel like on offense all across the board that are special, special players, special athletes, and coaches that love the game, are putting us in position to make plays, are coaching their asses off for us. So we know this group is special, and defense too, obviously. But just speaking for the offense, we are, like I said, we've known we had a special group, and it's just a matter of us executing on Sundays, making the plays, being in the right spots, and just trusting ourselves.
When you have something, and I want to thank Eric Woodward for that. Great work in the locker room. We love Eric and love all the content he puts out. When you have that type of knowledge that what you're doing is special, I think that alone, Bray, is motivation for you to show up to work every day. I think, when you played at Michigan, I think you probably felt there were games that you could just show up and win, where the other team would see your winged helmet and you were going to win.
Yeah.
So you had to continue to work and figure out, how am I going to get through this week of practice when I know we're going to win this game? I feel like the Detroit Lions, they're winning games. They're scoring 32 points a game. They're winning games by 38 points. They're doing all these historic things. I think they realize they're so aware of what they're doing that it keeps them motivated to work hard and get it done in practice.
Yeah, too. Also, you're going against one of the best defenses in the league right now. Say what you want to about this defense. Iron sharpens iron, and Dan Campbell is a coach. These guys are going at it during the week. He doesn't care that it's week 12 of the NFL season. They're still going at it. So when you're going against, best on best and good on good, and you got Za'Darius going against, Taylor Decker, or you got him going against Big Panay, or, Aleem and DJ Reader going against Frank, Amon-Ra going against Terry and Arnold. You hear what happened last week in practice with Carlton Davis II. How did he break his thumb? Mm-hmm. He was going against Amon-Ra St. Brown, so they're going at it. When you're playing against people that good, it only makes you better. So you can't wait till when the game comes. When I was at Michigan, you bring up Michigan. The best people that we played were every day in practice. Like, I went against Marlon Jackson. Marlon Jackson was the 3-time All-American, 2-time first-team All-American. Like, I went against him in practice. When we got to the game on Saturday, that game was easy. It wasn't boring, but it was easy because we put in all that work during practice. When you put in work like that, you can't wait till Sunday in this case because you want to show people how hard you've been working. So they're not getting bored because they're going at it in practice each week.
Listen, man, they got the Colts coming up this week.
That's where I was going with it, too.
They got the Colts coming up. And you know what? To me, they're just another team. The only thing they got going for them is their home. They get to sleep in their own beds. That's where it ends. You got Anthony Richardson, who I think is going to be okay eventually. You know, I was one of the guys that was on his train because what a great freak athlete he is. He's a monster of a man. And if he could put it all together, he's going to get it. They got some talent on there. Jonathan Taylor is a great running back. I don't expect him to get over 50 yards because I don't even expect him to get 30 yards because I'm even benching him on my fantasy team. How's that sound? That's how much I believe on this Lions defense. You're not going to run it, and then you're going to have to throw it, or you're just going to have to watch Anthony Richardson. Just keep an eye on that guy. Jack Campbell, Rodrigo, keep your eye on that guy, and they'll win the game by 3 touchdowns.
I wouldn't bench Jonathan Taylor if I was you. I'm not saying that they're going to win or do anything crazy like that. I'm simply saying I wouldn't bench Jonathan Taylor. When you got a running quarterback like Anthony Richardson, you're going to get a lot of creep-out yardage with Jonathan Taylor. So,
you might.
Food for thought.
Maz, you said something the other day that I've been thinking about lately, and it is you have a hard time watching other teams because of how good the Lions are.
Yeah.
It's boring to watch other games. And it is so true. And for somebody that I consider you like the historian of the NFL in the room, for somebody that's watched the NFL for so long, what I am watching is the most exciting team that I can remember in 25 years.
Yeah.
Where do you put this offense and even the defense who gets to pick a game, who sacks the quarterback?
Yeah.
Where do you put this team?
I can't compare their offense to anything I've ever seen. Maybe the 49ers of the 90s. But I'm a Giants fan growing up. So 1986 was a great year for me. Mets won, Giants won. That's the first time the Giants ever did anything in my entire lifetime up to that point. Phil Simms, he's like Jared Goff. But they had no receivers that compare to what they have here. And their running backs, they were pretty good. Joe Morris 1 year, O.J. Anderson another year. But these guys are going to be Hall of Famers. They just are. Mark Bavaro was the tight end. I can compare him to Sam Laporta. But the defense on the Giants was how they won. And they had the best linebackers and the best defensive line in the league. And, of course, the Chicago Bears prior to that when they held the Giants to 0 points in the NFC Championship game, the 85 Bears. Those are the only defenses that I could even put ahead of this one right now. But their offense, I think it stands alone. I can't think of a better offense that I've ever seen in all my days watching the game. I'm so comfortable watching the offense work.
I was going to say the only 2 teams I think to compare them of is the Chargers of the mid-'90s when they had LaDainian Tomlinson, they had Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers, they had Darren Sproles. They had the 2 headed backfield as monsters as well. Then wide receivers, you had Vince, you had a couple cats that could play, but they were better than them. It really only is the St. Louis Rams. It's the greatest show on turf. You break it down because Marshall Faulk is very comparable to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes.
Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, very comparable to what we hope Jameson Williams is and what Amon-Ra St. Brown already is. Roland Williams was a great tight end. They got one of the best tackles of all time in Orlando Pace. There's your Penei Sewell. And then Kurt Warner. Warner, obviously we know what he was. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's what we believe Jared Goff is on his way to, what he's doing. So that's the only thing that you can compare him to.
You're right.
That's it.
You're absolutely right. And I still think this team is better than that team.
They look that way.
They're making mockery of the game. They are making a mockery of the game.
I know it, man. It is so wild what they're doing. It's so enjoyable. I still can't believe that they're the Detroit Lions.
They're our team.
You know,
Isaac Keem return kicks for them, too.
God, yes.
Like Khalif Raymond.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get too crazy at all because they haven't won 1 Super Bowl. But I feel like this is a multiple Super Bowl group.
Why not?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're going to still draft next year, too.
This is a multiple Super Bowl group. I just feel
most of your core players still under rookie contract or first-year contract.
Right. I'm having so much fun with this team
perfect.
this year.
I get the chills right now. Just started. I got the chills. I've got it right now. I've got the chills. This freaking team is, beside my family, this team is my freaking life. I swear to God.
Giving you so much joy.
Yes. I love them.
The only way the multiple thing scares me is because we know both these, well, at least I think, both these coordinators are gone next year. both these coordinators are head coaches in this NFL next season. So now you're bringing in 2 coordinators to do with these guys
from your team.
Understood, but still, it's still not the same guys. Still, so that would be the only thing that scared me.
There might be someone better than Ben Johnson. There might be someone better than AG.
And could be somebody worse.
Could be.
We talked about this a couple of times over the last week, and just want to mention it again today. You mentioned Aaron Glenn and the defense, too, because I think the offense is so good, you almost overlook what the defense is doing. Again, this team is not allowed more than 1 touchdown pass in a game. Think about that.
Yeah.
10 games. Not one quarterback has come in, not Baker Mayfield, not Sam Darnold, not Jordan Love, not insert quarterback here. Not one quarterback has thrown for multiple touchdown passes against this defense.
Amazing.
And you got to give Aaron Glenn a lot of credit for that.
Compared to last year's secondary?
Which was the worst in the league,
games? Yeah.
KG. Which was the worst in the league. And I just think that's remarkable. I just think, and not only that, but they've also intercepted a pass in each of the first 10 games. Yeah. Again, 85 Bears, 84 Broncos, and 39 Giants is the only teams to do that.
Mm-hmm. I want to sit here and make a comment. I want to make some snide remark like, well, the reason why, you look at the Green Bay game and it's raining outside, and you look at when you play against the Houston Texans, they're missing Nico Collins and they're missing. Look, when I was playing with the Jets, we had one of the best defenses I've ever been around. That was the Revis 2 years, really. But that defense was damn good, man. You better tell them about how good that defense was in 09 and 10.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. Even as good as Revis and Cromartie and the secondary we had, I still saw them give up 2 touchdown passes in the game to teams that weren't that good.
Right.
So that's why I'm going, like, what they're doing, you can't make excuses for it. It's legit. It's sound. It's Aaron Glenn inserting who he is. And it's also his players listening to him and being dialed in. So got to give him a lot of credit because I've seen a lot of great teams, and they ain't do this.
Yeah, I haven't even seen Enos Rakestraw yet.
Right.
We don't know what that kid's got. They're taking it easy with him. Melifonwu, he might not play another down for the Lions. I thought he was terrific last year. But the way Dan Campbell's talking, he might have played his last down here because – he got hurt again.
Injured again.
He's set back again. I just don't think we're going to see him. I hope we do because I think he's got a lot of talent. But every single guy they draft, including Broderick Martin, who's now off the list and maybe get some playing time, is going to step their game up because they have to. If you want to play on this team, you better be your damn best.